Have you ever wondered, as an ordinary person, do we really have the chance to live the life we've always longed for? We have no prominent background, no extraordinary talent, and we rush about for a living every day. The success studies on the market are either too distant or too complicated, seemingly having nothing to do with us. But today, I want to share with you a success system truly tailored for us ordinary people. It comes from a magical book that has been a bestseller for 15 years, topped Amazon's charts for over 300 weeks, and is hailed as a turning point in countless people's lives, The Compound Effect. The author of this book, Darren Hardy, spent 25 years researching and practicing, and finally concluded, the secret to success is precisely in the hands of every ordinary person. The core of this secret is not to let you do extremely difficult things, but to let you keep doing the right small things, and then persist in these tiny, almost invisible actions, and magical things will happen. The compound effect will make these tiny actions exert tremendous power over time, ultimately leveraging the greatest returns with the smallest actions. Next, we will learn together how to apply this system to our own lives. If you believe that tiny persistence will eventually lead to great achievements, then this video is for you. In today's fast-paced era, it seems that each of us is looking for that nuclear button that can make us stand out. But the reality is often that the more we pursue earth-shattering changes, the more we tend to spin in place. The compound effect we are going to explore today is precisely to break this illusion. It reveals an underlying law that is ignored by most people, but controls all success and failure. This law can be condensed into an extremely simple success formula. Tiny yet wise choices times consistency times time equals massive differences. Now let's analyze this formula in depth, like dissecting a precision instrument. The massive differences on the right side of the equal sign are the wealth, freedom, ideal life, and outstanding achievements we desire, while on the left side are three decisive variables. Among them, time is a powerful, fair, and ruthless amplifier. It will amplify everything you input, whether good or bad. Consistency is a necessary condition to ensure that this formula can continue to operate without collapsing midway. So, what is the only input and in the entire formula that we can start from scratch and completely control? The initial variable. It is that seemingly insignificant, even somewhat ridiculous, tiny yet wise choice. However, a sharp question arises. Since the formula for success is so simple and clear, why haven't most people's lives undergone the expected huge changes in reality? This must be explored at a core psychological level, a cognitive trap that traps almost everyone. Our brains are innately extremely averse to delayed gratification. It's like a child craving candy. Give him a candy, and he'll immediately send you a signal of happiness. But the compound effect is precisely anti-human. In its initial stage, you put in effort, but the return it gives you is negligible, even making you feel like a joke. You stick to running every day, and after a week, the number on the scale might not budge at all. You persist in reading every day, and after a month, you don't seem to be any smarter. This state of zero or weak feedback is equivalent to a signal of failure for our brains. So, at the critical threshold before seeing the explosion of results, most people choose to give up. The case about friends in the book is the most ruthless confirmation of this cognitive trap, bringing the formula of the compound effect into vivid daily life. The premise of this case analysis is two friends with completely similar starting points. We don't need to care about their specific lives, only to analyze the tiny variables in their behaviors. Friend A's positive variables are reading and exercising every day, while reducing calorie intake by 125 kilocalories every day in diet. Both actions are extremely tiny, almost posing no obstacles to execution. Friend B's negative variables are indulging in food programs and drinking one more glass of wine every week. These are also extremely tiny living habits, even bringing immediate pleasure. What kind of disparate output results did these tiny variables produce when multiplied by the time amplifier of persisting for 31 months? The results were fundamental and all-round differences. In terms of health, one lost 15 kilograms, the other gained 15 kilograms, with a staggering 30 kilograms difference in their weights. In career, one got a salary increase and promotion due to continuous learning, the other became weary of work. In family, one had a happy relationship, the other's marriage was on the rocks. The most profound analysis point of this case is that what determined the direction of their lives was not a major, dramatic turning point, but those insignificant daily choices repeated nearly 1,000 times over 2.5 years. But this is not all. Based on this case, the book introduces a deeper analysis model called the ripple effect. Its core logic is that any tiny behavior, whether good or bad, is not isolated in its impact. Instead, it is like a stone thrown into a lake. They stir faint ripples, subtle at first, that eventually ripple outward, touching every dimension of your life. Take friend B as an example. How did his small negative habit of loving gourmet food stir up negative ripples in his life? This logical chain deserves every one of us to be alert. The first layer of ripples is physiological. Eating greasy food directly leads to poor sleep quality. The second layer is emotion and work. Lack of sleep causes listlessness, irritability during the day, and work efficiency and output also decrease accordingly. The third layer is a vicious cycle. Increased work pressure makes him more inclined to eat to relieve stress, forming a continuously strengthening vicious circle. The fourth layer is interpersonal relationships. Poor energy makes him reduce shared activities with his wife, and less time together naturally leads to a cold and distant relationship. The fifth layer is self-perception. Poor physical shape makes him lose confidence, becoming passive and less attractive in intimate relationships. You see, the entire process is a logically clear, interlocking systematic collapse, and its source is just a trivial change in habits. Therefore, before ending this part, we must draw a crucial core insight. Success or failure are not sudden accidental events. They are completely predictable systematic results triggered by tiny behaviors, driven by consistency, and amplified by time. Understanding the operation mode of this core engine is equivalent to obtaining the key to interpreting the secret of success. The next key step is naturally how to control the switch of this engine, how to input correct instructions to make it move in the direction we expect. This switch is the starting point of the entire compound effect system and the only force we can fully dominate. It is what we are going to analyze in depth next. Choice. In the previous part, we deconstructed the underlying formula of success, and now we all know that it is those daily tiny choices that truly determine our destiny. But a deeper and more intractable problem emerges. Since choice is so important, why do we always make the wrong ones? To answer this question, we must first analyze a state that each of us is in without realizing it, which the book calls the sleepwalking state. This sounds a bit mysterious, but it is extremely real. Psychological research shows that up to 95% of what we feel, think, and do every day is dominated by formed habits. This means that most of the time in a day, we are not making decisions consciously, but relying on preset automated programs in our brains to operate. Think about it. Have you ever had such experiences? You intended to relax after work, but picked up your phone and spent 2 hours scrolling through it, only realizing the passage of time when your eyes felt sore. Or you opened a bag of potato chips, intending to eat only a few, but unconsciously finished the whole bag while watching a show. In these moments, it is not the rational, thoughtful you who decides to keep scrolling or finish the chips, but the you in sleepwalking, controlled by habits and immediate satisfaction. Therefore, the greatest challenge in our lives is often not how to make an earth-shattering correct choice, but how to wake up from this unconscious sleepwalking state first. So, what is this first alarm clock? The book gives an extremely crucial starting point for all changes: taking 100% responsibility. The phrase, taking full responsibility, may sound like a cliched moral lecture, But here it must be elevated from a moral concept to a strategic choice. Let's conduct a strategic analysis. When you attribute the result of something to any external factor, such as I was late for the meeting because the traffic was too bad today, the project failed because my colleagues were not helpful, I'm in a bad mood because the boss criticized me, what are you actually doing? You are handing over the right to change the status quo because you can't control traffic, can't control colleagues, and can't control the boss. When power is not in your hands, you can naturally only accept the result passively. Taking 100% responsibility is a reverse strategic operation. It requires you to pull the focus of the problem back to yourself no matter what happens. If you're late, is it because you didn't set aside enough time or plan in advance? If the project failed, is it because you didn't check and review it yourself before the final submission? If you're in a bad mood, is it because your emotional management ability still needs improvement? You see, when you think this way, all the initiative returns to you. You may not be able to change the weather, but you can choose to leave early. You can't change your colleagues, but you can choose to improve your work processes. Taking 100% responsibility is essentially the ultimate empowerment. It means you transform from a victim who can only accept results passively to a controller who can actively create results, regaining the steering wheel of your life. Well, a change in mindset is the first step, but mindset alone is not enough. We also need a tool, one that can truly help you see yourself and those unconscious choices clearly. The book calls it the ultimate weapon: tracking and recording. Don't underestimate this method. It sounds simple to the point of being primitive, but its power is enough to leverage changes in your entire life. Why is tracking so effective? Because it is essentially data analysis of personal behavior. A company cannot be profitable if it doesn't know where its money is spent. Similarly, a person cannot achieve real growth if they don't know where their time, energy, and money are actually consumed. Tracking is the process of quantifying vague, unconscious behaviors. You think you only drink milk tea occasionally, but after tracking for a week, you may be shocked to find that you drink it every day. You think you spend money fairly moderately, but when you record every penny you spend, you may find that you spend thousands of yuan every month on things that are completely unnecessary. The author himself once faced a huge tax crisis because he was in a sleepwalking state about his financial situation. His accountant told him at the time, "You spend money like a drunk fool." It was from then on that he began to record every penny he spent in a small notebook, whether it was buying a suit or spending 50 cents to inflate a tire, without exception. This simple action immediately gave him a new, clear understanding of his spending habits. He found that many consumption occurred unconsciously, and the mere act of needing to write it down was enough to make him start restraining unnecessary impulsive consumption. This is the magic of tracking. It's not to make you feel guilty, but to make you see. When you can clearly see your behavioral patterns, see those choices that make you deviate from the track unknowingly, change is already happening, because awareness is the beginning of change. Buy a small notebook or download an app and start dataizing and visualizing every word and action in the areas you want to change from today. This process is like taking the truest, most unmodified X-ray of your life. It may make you see some truths you are reluctant to face, but only by clearly identifying the root cause can we prescribe the right cure. And this X-ray will provide the most accurate navigation for your next action, which is how to design and transform your habits. In the previous part, we found the steering wheel to regain control of our lives, making choices consciously. But soon you will find a new problem. Even if you make up your mind and make the right choice, why is it so hard to persist? To answer this question, we must delve into the deeper, more powerful control center behind our behaviors, habits. The book has a surprising statistic. Up to 95% of all the achievements we feel, think, and accomplish are determined by the habits we develop the day after tomorrow. What does this mean? You can imagine our brains as an extremely powerful mobile phone, and habits are the background applications that run year-round on this phone. The first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is touch your phone. That's a background application. You want to eat something sweet when you're anxious. That's also a background application. You want to procrastinate when you encounter difficulties. That's also a background application. These programs are good or bad. They run automatically in the background, consuming your energy, determining your behaviors, and ultimately shaping your life. And the awake, rational you, the one who is full of enthusiasm when making New Year's plans, only occupies 5% of the CPU resources. Therefore, the essence of life changes is not that 5% of you engages in a life and death struggle of willpower with that 95% of you. Because as soon as you slack off a little, that 95% of automated programs will immediately take over your body and pull you back to the original track. That's why you get a gym membership with enthusiasm, but a week later, the gym becomes a limited check-in spot in your circle of friends. You vow to lose weight, but a few days later, the temptation of that piece of chocolate in the middle of the night easily overcomes your determination. This leads to an in-depth analysis of a word we've heard since childhood: willpower. We always think that failure to change is due to weak willpower, but the compound effect tells us a cruel truth: willpower is extremely unreliable. It is a very precious consumable, not an energy account that can be overdrawn infinitely. You can imagine willpower as the running memory of your phone. When you are energetic and in a good mood, this memory is sufficient, and you can run many programs that require self-control at the same time, such as resisting delicious food and persisting in studying. But with the exhaustion of the day, stress, and consumption of various trivial matters, your running memory becomes smaller and smaller. In the evening, when the program that wants to eat late-night snacks pops up, your system may be on the verge of crashing due to insufficient memory, with no extra resources to run the program of restraint. What's more, our opponents, those bad habits, have a powerful ally behind them: our brain's primitive desire for immediate satisfaction. Our brains were designed through millions of years of evolution with the primary task of survival, so they are innately extra sensitive to signals of scarcity and attack. Eating a piece of cake, the brain immediately secretes dopamine, giving you a happy reward, while the health rewards of persistently running are far in the future, even months or years later. Therefore, the feedback of bad habits is immediate, strong, and tempting, while the rewards of good habits are delayed, vague, and need faith to support. In this game, relying solely on the isolated force of willpower to fight against the most primitive desires of human nature is like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. So, since willpower is unreliable, where is the real way out? The book gives a subversive answer. To achieve lasting change, what you need is not stronger willpower, but a stronger why. Why is your core motivation, the deep emotions and values you are willing to strive for. It's not the superficial goal of, I want to lose weight, but why I want to lose weight, because I want to have a healthy body, be able to accompany my family and children for a long time, and witness every important moment in their lives. This why is the nuclear reactor that can provide a steady stream of energy for your new habits. When the energy of this reactor is strong enough, any so-called difficulties and temptations will become vulnerable. There is an excellent metaphor in the book to help us understand how powerful why can be. Imagine there is a wooden board 30 centimeters wide and 10 meters long on the ground, and you are asked to walk from one end to the other, and you will be given 100 yuan. Would you be willing? You certainly would. It's like free money. But if the same wooden board is placed between two 100-story skyscrapers, with an abyss below, and you are given 100 yuan, would you still be willing to walk across? You would certainly think it's crazy. Well, now the situation changes. Your child is in the opposite building, and that building is on fire, and the only way out is this wooden board. At this time, not to mention giving you 100 yuan, even if you are given nothing, would you walk across? You would rush over without hesitation. Note that throughout the process, the wooden board hasn't changed, your ability hasn't changed, and the risk hasn't changed. What's the only thing that has changed? It's your why for doing this thing. When why is strong enough, the technical problem of how to do it will often find the answer automatically. When your motivation changes from earning 100 yuan to saving my beloved, fear and hesitation disappear automatically. So before attempting any habit change, please stop asking yourself, can I persist? And ask yourself a more fundamental question. What is the deepest, truest, and most soul-stirring why for me to do this thing? Find it, write it down, and look at it every day. This why is your strongest trump card when fighting against that 95% of automated programs. It is the underlying code of your life operating system, determining the operating logic of all upper-level applications. Now we have clearly analyzed the underlying logic of habits and found the real energy to drive change. Then it's time to enter the most exciting part, the engineering of habit transformation. We will learn how to act like a precision engineer, dismantling the bad habits we don't want and building the good habits we dream of step by step. In the previous part, we drew a crucial conclusion: don't fight habits with willpower, but design habits with wisdom. This design process is like a precision engineering project. You need to be the chief engineer of your life, holding a clear blueprint and methodically demolishing those old and harmful buildings and building new ones that can lead you to the future. The compound effect just provides us with such a complete and practical engineering blueprint. Next, we will systematically summarize the many strategies in the book into two major engineering frameworks, allowing you to transform your habits in an orderly manner like a professional engineer. The first framework is called the dismantling project of bad habits. Any deep-rooted bad habit does not exist in isolation. There is a complete operating system behind it. To completely dismantle it, you can't just rely on head-on confrontation. Instead, you need to analyze its structure like dismantling a machine, then take it apart step by step. Step 1. Identify the trigger. Find the detonation point. The occurrence of bad habits is often not random. It is always detonated by a specific trigger. This trigger may be a specific person, a specific time, a specific place, or a specific emotion. You need to examine your bad habits like a detective. For example, what is the trigger for the bad habit of late-night overeating? It may be the emotion of high work pressure, or the scene of watching a show alone at home at night. When you feel bored, nervous, tired, or angry, what is the first bad habit that comes to mind? Identify and record these triggers one by one. This is the first and most critical step of the dismantling project. Because only by finding the detonation point can you remove its hidden fuse. Step 2. Clean up. Remove the fuses from your environment. Once the triggers are identified, take immediate action to completely remove these fuses from your physical environment. If you want to quit drinking sugary drinks, clean out all drinks in the refrigerator at home and replace them with soda water and mineral water. If you want to control unnecessary expenses, immediately unsubscribe from all promotional text messages and app pushes from shopping platforms on your phone. If you want to eat healthily, give away or throw away all junk food in your cabinet. Don't make excuses like, this is for the family. Not eating junk food is beneficial to all your family members. This process should be decisive and thorough, not leaving any chance for their old you to make a comeback. Step 3. Find substitutes. Replace a bad program with a good one. Human behavior patterns are often hard to have a vacuum zone. In other words, when you take away a bad habit, you must fill its position with a new, relatively beneficial habit. Otherwise, the old habit is easy to relapse. The book gives some excellent examples. For instance, the author himself likes to eat something sweet after a meal. If there is ice cream at home, he may eat a whole bucket. Later, he uses 2 small pieces of dark chocolate instead, which not only satisfies the desire for something sweet, but also reduces the calories from over 1,000 kilocalories to 50 kilocalories. Analyze your bad habits. What is the deep need behind them? Can you find a healthier substitute to meet the same need? Step 4. Choose the dismantling method. Either take small steps or cut off at once. For different bad habits, the dismantling methods are also different. For those habits that have existed for decades and are deep-rooted, such as smoking and drinking coffee, the method of taking small steps and reducing gradually may be more effective. It's like swimming in the water, first letting the body adapt to the water temperature, then slowly immersing the whole body. But for other habits, you must cut them off at once. It's like when the author was a child, his father directly threw him into the cold lake to learn swimming. Although it was painful for a moment, the body could quickly adapt. Sometimes, too much hesitation and buffer will consume your determination to change. You need to evaluate your own character and the nature of the habit to decide which dismantling method to adopt. The second framework is called the building project of good habits. After dismantling the old ones, it's time to build new ones. Building a good habit is like planting a tree. You need to water and fertilize it, and take care of its growth. Step 1. Lower the starting threshold. Make starting extremely easy. Any good habit that is difficult to persist in is often because its starting threshold is too high. If you want to go to the gym, but get a membership card for a gym 5 kilometers away from home, you will probably not go a few times. The correct approach is to choose a gym downstairs from your company or at the entrance of your community. Spread the yoga mat next to your bed and put the book you want to read next to your pillow. In short, make the start of this good habit effortless. Step 2. Additive thinking. Focus on what you gain rather than what you lose. When cultivating a new habit, don't always think about what you have sacrificed for it, but focus on what it brings to you. For example, when you give up sleeping in to get up early, don't think I feel bad for sleeping 1 hour less, but think I have an extra 1 hour of efficient, undisturbed golden time, which can be used for reading, thinking, and improving myself. When you give up junk food for healthy eating, don't think I can't eat hamburgers and fries anymore, but think today I can eat delicious salads, vegetables, and fresh fruits, and my body will be full of energy because of this. This additive thinking will make you change from a victim to a beneficiary with a completely different mindset. Step 3. Introduce external forces, make public commitments, and find partners. Don't fight alone. Announce your new habits and goals to the world. Tell your family and friends. Post them on your social media, and let the eyes of everyone be the force to supervise you. This will greatly increase your motivation to persist. Further, find a success partner for yourself. You can communicate regularly, report progress to each other, encourage each other, and hold each other accountable. Step 4. Design immediate rewards. Know how to celebrate every small victory of yours. The rewards of good habits are delayed, but we can artificially design some immediate rewards to trick our brains. For example, whenever you complete a week's fitness plan, reward yourself with a movie. Whenever you achieve a month's reading goal, reward yourself with a meal at a favorite restaurant. These small celebrations and rewards will make you continuously get positive feedback on the way to long-term goals, thus having more motivation to move forward. So far, we have mastered the methods of choice and habit transformation. But there may be a small voice in your heart muttering, "Does my life really have to stay this tense forever?" Like a monk practicing extreme self-discipline, relying every day on sheer willpower and meticulous planning to battle the 95% of the lazy self inside me. This is too tiring, and it feels unsustainable. This is exactly the ultimate problem to be solved next. Because when you persist in the right habits for a short period of time, an extremely powerful, even somewhat metaphysical, mysterious ally will come to assist you. The author in the book gave it a very cool name, the Big Mo, which is what we often call momentum. Momentum is definitely a secret weapon that successful people know well. Have you noticed that successful people tend to become more successful Rich people tend to get richer, and happy people tend to be happier. Is this really just because they are lucky? Of course not. It's because they all successfully summoned the Big Mo and entered a smooth cheating mode. Once this Big Mo is activated, you will find that the things that used to require gritting your teeth to persist in now can be done effortlessly. The things that used to seem out of reach now seem to be close at hand. So what exactly is this mysterious Big Mo? In fact, we all learned its principle in middle school physics. It's that seemingly boring law of inertia. This law not only applies to objects, but also to our lives. A person who is used to slouching, a lazy sitting posture, has a static inertia in his body and spirit, which will make him more and more lazy, while a person who has started to act and enter the rhythm of growth has a moving inertia in his body and spirit, and this force will push him, making him unable to stop even if he wants to. So you see, the essence of all growth is to use a huge initial explosive force to overcome the static friction in your life, switching your life from a static state to a moving state. The book uses an excellent metaphor to analyze this process, just like when we were children pushing the merry-go-round in the park. Imagine that scene. In front of you is a large, heavy, motionless merry-go-round, and you want to make it spin. In the starting stage, you push with all your strength, gritting your teeth, your face turning red. The first, second, third pushes, the merry-go-round just creaks in place, not moving at all. This stage is pure consumption, extremely painful, and you can't see any hope at all. This is the stage of overcoming static friction, and it's also the stage where 90% of people choose to give up and walk away cursing. In the acceleration stage, you don't leave, you choose to persist a little longer. Finally, the merry-go-round is pushed by you a little, you see hope, so you start to trot along with it, pushing hard while running. Although it's still tiring, you have entered a moving state, and you feel that you have a little tacit understanding with this machine. In the momentum stage, as you run faster and faster, the merry-go-round's speed also increases. Finally, you succeed. You jump onto the merry-go-round, feeling the pleasure of the wind whistling past your ears. At this moment, you don't even need to do anything else. The merry-go-round's own momentum will make it spin rapidly for a long time. The changes in our lives are exactly the same as the process of pushing a merry-go-round. Starting a new good habit, such as getting up early, exercising, or reading, is like starting that static merry-go-round. It's the most difficult and exhausting. But as long as you get through that hardest starting period, once you cross the critical point, the powerful momentum will take over everything, making your life flywheel run at high speed by itself. So the key question is, in life, what is the most reliable tool to start and maintain the momentum flywheel? The answer is 2 words: routine. Don't think of the word routine as too complicated. It's not some complex schedule, but a set of standardized, even ritualistic foolproof operating procedures for your good habits. The book analyzes why, in military recruit training, even small things like folding quilts and polishing shoes are done so strictly, why top athletes have a set of unshakable preparation actions before competitions. Because routines are the only way to help us maintain stable performance even in stressful, tired, and chaotic states. Its essence is to bypass our lazy, fickle brains through fixed processes, making the body form muscle memory. When something becomes your routine, you no longer need to have a battle of whether to do it with yourself every morning after getting up. Your body will automatically and naturally complete it before you react. This is exactly the key to starting the momentum flywheel. You design daily reading, daily exercise, and other goals into a fixed routine, then implement and maintain it unswervingly like the most loyal believer. Over time, your brain will lay a dedicated neural highway for this routine, and its start and operation will become smoother and more automatic. Among all routines, the book especially emphasizes a strategy that ordinary people can most easily get started with and has the highest return on investment, firmly controlling the beginning and end of your day. Why these 2 periods? because analyzing your day, you will find that the working hours during the day are full of various accidents that you can't control. But you can almost always completely control the first hour after waking up in the morning and the last hour before going to bed at night. The morning routine sets a good tone for your whole day. Just like turning on a phone, a clean, undisturbed start determines the operating speed of the whole day. The author's morning routine includes gratitude, thinking, goal setting, reading, planning the 3 most important things of the day, and so on. The core of this routine is to adjust your mental state, thinking mode, and action focus to the best channel before you are overwhelmed by various emails, messages, and trivial matters. When you face the challenges of the day with clear goals and a positive attitude, you have already won at the starting line. The bedtime routine is to charge and disinfect your brain. The author's bedtime routine includes reviewing the day, recording insights, reading inspirational books, and so on. The analysis point of this routine is that the last information you input before going to bed will greatly affect your subconscious and your state the next day. Ending the day with positive, constructive content is equivalent to fully charging and preparing in advance for the success of the next day. So you see, starting your life growth flywheel doesn't require you to be like a person full of energy all the time. You only need to design your routine, especially in these 2 golden periods of morning and night, then implement and maintain it as accurately as a clock. When your actions change from one-time efforts to continuous routines, your momentum flywheel has already started to rotate. And what we need to do next is to provide the best environment for this flywheel, making it speed faster and faster, ultimately forming unparalleled energy. This leads to the invisible forces we are going to analyze in depth in the next part, which affect us all the time. We have explored how to reshape our inner world through choices, habits, and momentum. However, a harsh reality is that even if you possess the strongest internal drive, if you are in a swamp of negative energy, every step you take will be dragged down and drained by your surroundings. This leads to an extremely important concept. You are a product of your personal ecosystem. The book The Compound Effect profoundly points out that each of us lives in a life magnetic field composed of 3 core influences, which constantly shape our thinking patterns, decisions, and ultimate achievements. You must become the manager of this magnetic field and proactively evolve it. Otherwise, all your internal efforts may yield only half the results with double the effort. These 3 core influences are information input, interpersonal relationships, and physical environment. First influence, information input. What kind of mental nourishment are you feeding your brain? This is an extremely profound point of analysis. You can imagine your brain as an empty glass. Whatever you pour into it, it will take on that color. And what is our default information environment? Open your phone and you'll find sensational social news, celebrity gossip, and various anxiety-inducing short videos. Turn on the TV and you'll see reports filled with conflicts, conspiracies, natural disasters, and man-made calamities. These are cups of murky, dirty water that we pour into our brains without a second thought. Why are we drawn to such things? The book provides an underlying psychological analysis. Our brains were evolutionarily designed with survival as the primary task, so they are inherently extra sensitive to signals of scarcity and aggression. The media understands this well. They use the most negative and stimulating information to hijack our attention. When you feed your brain with such dirty water over the long term, your thinking patterns, worldview, and even expectations will be subtly contaminated. You will become more prone to anxiety, more inclined to pessimism, and less able to see opportunities and beauty in life. So how to evolve? The answer is simple. Continuously flush that dirty water with clean water. The so-called clean water refers to positive, constructive information that can stimulate your potential, such as a good book, a high-quality course, or an interview about how successful people overcame difficulties. Therefore, You must become the chief nutritionist of your brain and proactively create a media diet plan for yourself. Actively block and unsubscribe from useless news pushes and mute social media accounts that only create anxiety and comparison. Take the initiative to intake. Turn your commute or housework time into your university on wheels, replacing energy-draining radio programs with high-quality audio and podcasts. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. What you feed your brain is what your brain will produce. Second influence, interpersonal relationships. Who is defining your normal? This is the strongest and most hidden of the three influences. The book cites a Harvard University study conclusion: the reference group you belong to, i.e., the people you interact with most frequently, determines 95% of your life's success or failure. Here's a classic quote: "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This is profoundly true. The income level, health status, thinking patterns, and even attitudes toward family of the 5 people you spend the most time with will act like a powerful gravitational force, pulling you toward their average level. If your friends spend every day discussing which game is fun or which show is good, it will be hard for you to develop a genuine interest in learning and self-growth. If your poker buddies all have beer bellies, you will probably not see any problem with your own figure. If your colleagues are always complaining about the company or bad-mouthing the boss, you will easily fall into a negative work state. The terrifying part of this influence lies in its subtlety and gradualness. It does not suddenly push you in one direction, but subtly changes your standards over time, redefining your perception of normal. Therefore, you must strategically manage your relationships, your personal board of directors, like a company CEO. The book offers a practical 3-category approach to relationships. Sever ties, especially with those who continuously lower your standards and drain your energy. You need to cut ties decisively and completely. This may be difficult, especially if the person is an old friend, but you must understand that your life is limited and should not be held hostage by others' negativity. Limited interaction. Some people you can spend 3 minutes with but not 3 hours. Some you can have a meal with but not travel with. You need to soberly evaluate your relationship with each person, set a maximum interaction time, and consciously limit their influence on you. Expand connections. This is the most critical step. Proactively seek out people who have achieved excellence in the areas where you desire growth. Find ways to spend more time with them. Join the organizations they belong to, go to the gyms they frequent, read the books they recommend. Their behaviors and attitudes will set a new, higher normal standard for you, significantly accelerating your growth. Third influence, environmental setting. Your container determines your capacity. The environment here is not just the city you live in, it refers to everything around you. The book uses the metaphor of an oak tree in a pot. An oak seed has all the potential to grow into a towering tree, but if you plant it in a small pot, once its roots fill the entire pot, its growth will stop immediately. No matter how strong its internal genes are, its final height is determined by its container. Each of us is like that oak tree, and our environment is the pot. This environment first refers to the physical environment. A cluttered desk or a room full of miscellaneous items constantly sends signals of chaos and inefficiency to your subconscious. Organizing your environment is organizing your mind. More importantly, there's the psychological environment. The book makes a piercing point. What you tolerate, you get. If you tolerate others disrespecting you, you will continue to be disrespected. If you tolerate being paid too little, you will always be undervalued. If you tolerate living in chaos and procrastination will become the norm in your life. The quality of your life will never exceed the minimum standards you set for yourself. Purifying your life's magnetic field is thus a systematic project. You need to strictly guard your information input like a guardian, manage your social circle like a strategist, and optimize your physical and psychological environment like a designer. Only when you create an external ecosystem that fully supports your success can your internal efforts yield the greatest returns. And when you cultivate both internal and external aspects, a powerful, positive growth flywheel will be successfully set in motion. The next step is the final push, learning how to accelerate this flywheel. From our previous learning, we have built the infrastructure for success. Now your life is like a car moving smoothly on the highway, but the question is, must we only move at the current speed? Is it possible to step on the gas at a critical moment, activate the turbocharger, and enter an accelerated growth mode? The answer is yes. And the secret to this acceleration lies in a moment we all experience, but often choose to escape, the wall phase. Whether it's the moment of exhaustion during a workout, the split second of wanting to give up when hitting a work bottleneck, or the urge to quit when learning a new skill feels boring, this wall appears. Our brains immediately jump in, finding 1,000 reasons to quit. I'm too tired today. I'll continue tomorrow. This goal is too hard. I can't do it. Taking a break is no big deal. The compound effect offers a profound analysis of this wall phase. This wall is not your limit at all. It is merely the finish line where most people choose to quit. In other words, the appearance of this wall is not an obstacle, but an extremely precious strategic opportunity. Because all your competitors will encounter the exact same wall. When they choose to stop, you only need to persist a little longer, even just grit your teeth and take one more step, and you will have surpassed them. True growth does not happen on sunny, smooth roads, but in the moment you struggle to break through that wall. All your past accumulation and persistence have only brought you to this wall, and your reaction, after hitting it, truly defines who you are and determines how high you can go. After understanding the strategic value of the wall phase, the book further presents 2 acceleration levers that can multiply your results. The first acceleration lever is called the critical breakthrough in intensity, or more simply, doing just a little bit more. The book uses a weightlifting example for analysis. Suppose your plan is to do 12 presses. When you finish the 12th, your muscles are extremely sore and it feels like you've hit your limit. At this point, you've completed the day's plan, which is good. Sticking to this will bring linear growth. But the real magic happens in the 13th, 14th, and 15th representatives. These extra 3, done after your body has reached maximum load, stimulate your muscles and enhance your strength not by a simple 25%, but possibly several times over. Because these 3 are the key to truly tearing old muscle fibers and prompting the growth of new, stronger ones. The first 12 representatives only bring you to the wall. The last few are the actions that break through it. This principle applies to all aspects of life. When you plan to make 10 sales calls a day, push yourself to make 2 more after the 10th. These extra 2 may hold your biggest order of the month. When you plan to study for 1 hour a day, stick to it for 15 more minutes when the 60-minute alarm goes off. These extra 15 minutes, done when your mental focus is at its peak, may be 3 times as efficient as before. The difference between mediocrity and excellence often lies in this little extra. It doesn't require several times more effort, just 1 small step forward when you feel you've done enough. The second acceleration lever is called cognitive management of exceeding expectations. If the first lever is about the intensity of doing things, the second is about the wisdom of being a person. Its core is to pursue exceeding others' expectations in everything. Why does this accelerate progress? Because when you consistently provide value beyond expectations, you accumulate an extremely precious intangible asset, reputation. And a good reputation itself is a powerful compound effect. It will attract more trust, opportunities, and high-quality resources like a magnet. This spirit of exceeding expectations is reflected in every detail. At work, if your boss asks you to finish a report today, you not only complete it on time, but also add an extra page of summary and data analysis. In family life, if you promise your partner anniversary dinner, you not only book the restaurant, but also prepare an unexpected small gift. In addition to exceeding expectations, there's a related strategy: doing the unexpected. In an era of information explosion where everyone is doing the same things, doing the right things only keeps you from falling behind, while doing things differently makes you stand out. The author shares a clever idea. In the US, almost everyone sends Christmas cards, but he goes against the trend and sends handwritten thank you cards on Thanksgiving. When others receive a pile of cards at Christmas, his Thanksgiving card, being unexpected, has several times the emotional impact. So by now, we've mastered the art of accelerating life. It's not some mysterious magic, but 2 clear strategies. First, in action, always push yourself to do a little more beyond the limit and completion point. Second, in cognition, always create surprises and uniqueness beyond expectations. When you integrate this pursuit of excellence into every effort, every delivery, and every interaction, you'll find that your life's growth curve is no longer a gentle slope, but a steep, stunning second curve. Now the engine is roaring and the boosters are ignited. The final step is to integrate all the knowledge we've learned into an immediately executable action plan, so that your life's spaceship can officially set sail today. Well, friends, we've covered all the core aspects of this deep learning journey into the compound effect. You may feel full of strength right now, but before you turn off the video and start acting, the book reveals one last, most advanced ultimate lever that can amplify the power of everything you've learned tenfold, 100-fold. This ultimate lever is not a more complex skill, but a higher level mindset, becoming a giver. This is an extremely profound insight. The compound effect reveals a revolutionary success principle. The best way to get anything in life is to help others get it. Behind this is a powerful logic. When you try to share what you've learned with those around you, you must first understand it thoroughly in your mind to explain it clearly. Teaching is the best way to learn. Sharing is the highest level of review. When you start proactively spreading positive ideas, you are no longer just a passive person influenced by the environment. You are becoming someone who actively creates and purifies the environment, thereby attracting more like-minded, growth-oriented partners. Transforming from a knowledge absorber to a value creator is precisely the manifestation of the compound effect at a higher dimension. You are no longer just adding bricks to your own life, but contributing your unique light and warmth to the world, and the person ultimately illuminated by that light and warmth is exactly yourself. Because giving brings you the most precious assets: trust, connections, and reputation. These intangible assets will eventually attract more opportunities and resources in ways you never expected, broadening your path to success. So at the end of this deep learning journey, the real graduation assignment is not to make a perfect personal plan, but to think about a warmer question: who in your life do you most hope will become better? They may be your family, close friends, or team members. Try sharing one insight or one touching story you gained here today with them. Because when you start doing this, you are no longer a lonely climber, but the center of a ripple. Thank you all sincerely for watching. See you in the next book.